What is up, XRP crypto community? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk about some weird stuff going on in the world, not crypto related. A good clip from Garlinghouse talking about where Ripple is going after this settlement, and then a little bit about institutional adoption. Let's hop right into it. So Bitcoin is capitulating a bit. It's at 46.7K. And let's see what XRP is sitting at. About 56 cents. But this was a really interesting story that came out while I was sleeping just a few hours ago. Riots unfold as the New York Police Department responds to discovery of an underground tunnel in a Brooklyn temple, a synagogue. Currently, numerous law enforcement officers are at the scene of the riot at the Chabad headquarters in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where individuals tore wooden panels to prevent a cement truck from sealing off recently discovered tunnels. Police intervened by ripping wooden tunnels to thwart the cement truck's actions. The underground tunnels, secretly built by a group, including members of this community, about 6 months ago, in an attempt to expand the iconic synagogue, were the focal point. Despite police intervention, numerous people refused to vacate the tunnels, which led to an arrest of at least 10 individuals after a scuffle with NYPD inside of 770, which is the synagogue. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but nonetheless, I do find that interesting. And this is Jim Cramer right here. This is the guy on CNBC, Mad Money. He tends to get so much wrong that there's actually an inverse Jim Cramer ETF that does the exact opposite of what this guy says. And in the past year, I think it performed like 160% return. This guy is saying Bitcoin's topping out. Don't take that at heart. Definitely take it with a grain of salt. This guy does tend to get things wrong, and I guess we could see this as a little bit of a bullish indicator. This chart right here is very telling to the growing institutional adoption. It's a chart of the top 25 global financial centers and how they are all passing innovation and regulation for digital assets. You'll see Zurich, Dubai, Tokyo, Singapore, London, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam. Pretty much all the heavy hitters in the global financial landscape. And they've all approved some type of legislation, with only Zurich, Dubai, Tokyo, and Singapore implementing this legislation. But it just goes to show that 2024 is going to be a massive year for institutional adoption. Right here, there's been a lot of rumors about XRP being dumped by Ripple. Good Morning Crypto says, in December 2023, Ripple's net sales of XRP reached 237 million units, equivalent to 142 million USD. This is 3 times the average monthly sales. Considering Ripple's historical patterns, a significant buyback is anticipated soon. I'm not saying that. He's speculating on that. There's also been rumors about this $30,000 XRP buyback. That's absolute clickbait, guys. I would love for the Fed or Ripple to buy back my XRP at $30,000 per token. But that's just absolute cope. And you got to be careful about what influencers you follow in this community, because people will just put big numbers like that just to clickbait you. So you'll watch their videos so they can make more money off of you. But it is interesting that Ripple is selling this much XRP, because when Ripple sells this XRP, they're not selling it to you. They're not selling it to me. These are to institutional buyers, people that are actually going to use Ripple payments to have on-demand liquidity. And David Schwartz even chimed in. He says, this is the CTO of Ripple. Ripple has 2 choices. We can continue to hold as much XRP as we do, or we can reduce the amount of XRP that we hold. And this is key, because the less XRP that Ripple holds, the more decentralized the token is. A lot of people say it's bad that Ripple holds 50% of the supply, even though it's in escrow and they can't just dump 50% of the supply. It's scheduled out for multiple years to be released. There really isn't a third option. Ripple's original plan was to reduce our XRP holdings as quickly as we could, and they'll be able to do this by selling off more XRP as there's more regulatory clarity, as there's more institutional adoption. Speaking of XRP, if you guys need a spot to get XRP, check out Uphold. It's sleek, it's simple, it's secure. It's where I get my XRP daily. You can find a link to Uphold in the video description below. And if you want $41 for free to get some more crypto, sign up with Webull, deposit 1 penny, and you're guaranteed $41 in free stocks. Sell your stocks, close your account, use that $41 to buy some McDonald's or some XRP. But definitely check out Webull in the video description below. So this is a clip from Garlinghouse on CNBC talking about post-settlement actions from Ripple. Take a listen.
Interesting move you guys did. You bought back your round C shares at a higher valuation than what they were at the moment. What was the rationale behind that?
So we did a Series C financing, I'm going to try to get my dates right here, in 2019, in Q4 of 2019, and we raised $200 million from a series of investors. When we negotiated that, we had pre-negotiated the ability to repurchase that up to a certain period of time for 1.5x the issuance. So we repurchased all of the Series C back from our investors because we thought it was a good investment. We thought that was accretive to all of our other shareholders. As you mentioned or you asked, we have been profitable and cash flow positive, so we're able to use that. So we've repurchased north of $500 million of Ripple shares over the past couple of years, including that financing.
And you mentioned you're cash flow positive, but also, are you looking for further outside funding at this point, whether it be for an extra cash injection or at least just a strategic sort of investment as well?
We aren't actively looking. We haven't needed to do that. We have a very strong balance sheet, and even as we look at the future, we feel good about that. I do think there will be opportunities, and I think there'll be an uptick in M&A in the blockchain and crypto space. We haven't seen that yet, but I think that's likely in the future, and I certainly think as that unfolds, we would consider things like that.
In terms of buying companies or being bought out?
We're now at a stage of growth where I think we're more likely to be the buyer versus the buyee or seller.
Yeah, but you haven't found any acquisition targets at this point, or is there an area of the business you're thinking, this company would be a great fit?
I would say there's a lot of growth in crypto, and we are looking at a lot of different segments of crypto for growth. Some of that, obviously, we will build internally. The carbon credit initiative is something we've kicked off internally, but we've invested in over 30 or 40 companies around the crypto ecosystem, and we'll continue to look at opportunities to grow through external acquisitions also.
So this is something that isn't always talked about with Ripple, but they're acquiring tens and tens of companies. I think they've invested, like you just said, into 30 and 40 different companies. And I made this analogy yesterday in my video. Amazon started as selling books. Ripple has started with cross-border payments. But in the future, Ripple is going to seize a lot more opportunity in the financial landscape when it comes to things like tokenizing real-world assets on the blockchain, which is something that everyone is talking about, whether that's sporting tickets, whether that's your house deed, your birth certificate, whether it's gold, silver, uranium. All of these real-world assets eventually, in my opinion, I'm speculating, will be tokenized on the blockchain, and the XRP ledger is perfect for that. And there's been a lot of talks about Bitcoin ETFs. The VanEck Spot Bitcoin ETF is now listed on the DTCC. This is the largest clearing organization in the world under the ticker HODL. A deadline for a lot of these ETFs is tomorrow, but definitely keep an eye on this because it's going to be very volatile in the crypto market the next few weeks with these ETFs. People think, Bitcoin's going to pump like crazy. And over the next year, going into 2025, there is going to be pumps. I think it's going to be a slow pump over time. Personally, I've been saying these Bitcoin ETFs are going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news type event. I think the Bitcoin ETFs are already priced in because people know that they will be approved. And I actually think we could see a dump when the Bitcoin ETFs get approved. Kind of like when Coinbase went public with their IPO. Everyone thought, Coinbase going public is just going to shoot the market to the moon. And the market actually dumped because, like I said, buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is Kathy Woods of ARK Invest just now on CNBC. Take a listen.
Let's assume the SEC approves your application. What kind of impact would a Bitcoin ETF have? I mean, we've all noticed this run-up in Bitcoin ever since BlackRock announced their interest from 30,000 to over 40,000. All of this is anticipation of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Could this be a sell on the news event? What happens from here? Let's assume this is approved.
Sure. I think so many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news because, once you hear that enough, the positioning is already taking place. So who knows? It's a very short term. All we know is with our 5-year investment time horizon, we think the flows into this new asset class especially institutional flows, but also retail flows. Retail has led the charge, of course, that they're going to be quite substantial. And it won't take much of an allocation by institutions into Bitcoin to drive what is becoming a scarce asset much higher.
You know, you recently reportedly sold Coinbase stock. This is usually considered a proxy for Bitcoin. So what are your thoughts on Bitcoin now? What kind of, flesh out your ideas a little bit for us.
On Coinbase, it was up 400% last year, and we as we do normally, and you've seen us trading around Tesla, now trading around Coinbase, a lot of good news. It became the largest stock in our flagship portfolio. In terms of Bitcoin, we think we've got three very big reasons for it to continue to move higher. One, it is digital gold, and gold is a $12 trillion asset. I think Bitcoin might be up to 800 billion right now. So we do think there is some substitution taking place. And the institutional flows, if the allocations were as little as 2.5% to 5%, which is where we think they will end up, you'll see 0.5 and then 1%, you'll see a legging in. That could be the biggest reason for a Bitcoin to go up, because we're at 19.5 million Bitcoin outstanding already. 15 million roughly are in long-term hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in more than 155 days. Therefore, we know we're only going to 21 million units ever. So this indeed, from 19.5 to 21 million, is becoming a scarce asset.
Scott Wagner.